Welcome to Unforbidden Truth. I'm Andrew. On this week's episode, I'll be having a conversation with Mexican serial killer and high priestess of the Narco-Satánicos cult, Sara Aldrete. I'll preface this with saying that Sara has an exclusivity contract that she signed with a producer in Mexico for a documentary that is currently being worked on about the Narco-Satánicos. She has not been able to do any interviews, and she was hesitant to do one with me, which we will pick up on. I got as much as she would give me. To date, Sara has never done an interview in English. I'll give you a brief history on Sara and the Narco-Satánicos. The Narco-Satánicos, which translates to Satanic Narcos, was led by a serial killer, drug dealer, and cult leader by the name of Adolfo Constanzo. As a teenager, Adolfo became an apprentice to a sorcerer, and he soon started to practice a religion called Palo Mayombe, which I'm sure I'm butchering that name, which is a religion that teaches the existence of the creator, deity, Nsambi, or Sambia, who is not involved in any human affairs. The paranormal is a big part of this religion, including animal sacrifices. As an adult, Adolfo was living in Mexico City, and it is there where he met his followers, Martin Quintana, Jorge Montes, and Omar Ori. Adolfo and his followers started a business which consisted of casting spells to bring good luck, which was expensive and included sacrifices of chickens, goats, snakes, zebras, and even lion cubs. A lot of the people Adolfo did business with were part of the criminal underworld, such as drug dealers, hitmen, corrupt police officers, who in turn introduced him to Mexico City's most feared drug cartel. The Narco-Satánicos have been alleged to be associated with the Gulf Cartel. Adolfo would ransack graveyards, grave robbing for human bones, to put in his cauldron. Adolfo and his cult believed that the spirits of the dead that were trapped inside the cauldron would give them more power with live human sacrifices rather than old human bones. Adolfo's nicknames were the Witch Doctor and El Padrino, the Godfather, and Sara Aldrete's nicknames were El Madrina, the Godmother, and La Bruja, the Witch. Sara Aldrete was born in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico. She attended high school in Brownsville, Texas, and was able to get resident alien status so she could attend Texas Southmost College. Sara was known as a good student by those that knew her. Sara stands 6'1". She was studying physical education, after which the plan was to transfer to a university to earn a teaching degree and or a certification to teach physical education. Even though there are more than 16 confirmed victims, not much is known about the victims other than Mark Kilroy, an American tourist that was on spring break. The murder of Mark Kilroy sparked the investigation with the Mexican and American authorities. This is when the crime started to get media coverage, now that an American had fallen victim to this cult. On April 1st, police arrested low-level drug dealer Serafin Hernandez Garcia, aka Little Serafin, at a checkpoint. After facing charges, Little Serafin decided to cooperate, and he led police to Rancho Santana Elna, a compound that the Narco-Satánicos had been occupying. After Little Serafin and police entered the ranch, he spilled the beans with everything that had happened in the killing of Mark Kilroy. Little Serafin admitted to kidnapping Mark and taking part in dismembering him. He was quoted as saying, "It was our religion, our voodoo. We did it for success. We did it for protection." Mark Kilroy was raped and tortured for hours before Adolfo took out a machete and chopped off the top of his skull. Members of the cult were scooping out Mark's brain matter and boiled it in the cauldron with a tortoiseshell, a horseshoe, and a human spine. They also ripped his heart out of his chest and buried his body in one of many graves around the site. Investigators found his body after Little Serafin led them to the location. There was a wire sticking up from the ground. According to Serafin, the other end of the wire had been attached to Mark's spinal column, so that after his body had decomposed completely, they were going to pull out the vertebrae and make a necklace out of it. Over the next 3 days after the discovery of Mark Kilroy's body, investigators began to discover body after body. In total, remains of 15 victims that were sacrificed were dug up. Some of the victims were rival drug dealers, members of other gangs, or corrupt police officers. Body parts were put in the cauldron, boiled, and members of the cult would drink it, believing it would make them invincible and bulletproof. Some of the cult members made necklaces out of their victims' vertebrae. Adolfo made a man by the name of Elio Hernandez, an executioner priest, as he called it, branding his chest and arms with sacred marks. Hernandez ordered his men to bring him the first man they could find to sacrifice. After cutting the victim's head off, he realized that he had killed his own nephew. In March 1989, Adolfo ordered one of his followers to kidnap an Anglo male for his next sacrifice. He believed that this next sacrifice would grant him and his cult more power. The next Anglo male that was spotted was Mark Kilroy, who would be the last confirmed victim of the Narco-Satanicos. The Narco-Satanicos had gone undetected for quite some time, with double-digit victims. They made one very big mistake with Mark Kilroy. Mark's uncle was a special agent with the U.S. Customs Service. Mark was reported missing in both Mexico and the United States. Mark Kilroy's disappearance was being investigated by multiple law enforcement agencies in both countries. The evidence collected by police was something that belongs in a horror movie, out of this world. Not even Hollywood could come up with something so deranged and twisted. Mexican police allegedly would not step on scene until it was purified of all evil spirits and blessed by a priest. Police ended up digging up 15 bodies around the property. A search of the property yielded 65 pounds of marijuana, and a shed of which the cauldron was in. By April 13th, Elio, Serafin, and 2 other gang members had been arrested, and they had confessed to multiple homicides. Adolfo, Sarah, and a few other cult members weren't captured until a month later. Actually, Adolfo didn't make it out alive. Adolfo ordered his own death a little less than a month later after the capture of the other gang members, including Elio and Serafin. On May 6, 1989, Mexican police found the Narco-Satanicos hideout, and they came prepared. They were tracked to an apartment building. Adolfo spotted a police car outside while he was outside. Who knows what they were there for, or if they would have even reached the building that the cult was staying in, and started firing a machine gun. After Adolfo noticed the police presence, he grabbed his machine gun and started firing. A gun battle began and it went on for almost 45 minutes. Adolfo ordered Alvaro de Leon Valdez to shoot him in his lever, Martin Quintana Rodriguez, rather than being arrested. Valdez shot and killed both with a machine gun. Valdez told the New York Times he grabbed a bundle of money and threw it and started shouting out the window. He said everything was lost. Sarah Aldrete was captured by police as she was trying to leave the apartment. Adolfo said, "Let's all die, but I don't want to die," Sarah told the local Mexican law enforcement, according to the Los Angeles Times. In 1994, Sara Aldrete was sentenced to 640 years in prison. She was later resentenced to 50 years in prison. Sarah made it clear beforehand that she didn't want to talk about anything related to her life or crimes other than basic details that aren't in the documentary that's currently being worked on. I had to pull something out of thin air, and she was short with everything that I threw at her. Here's my conversation with Sara Aldrete. Hola.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Good. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, but do it now.
Where were you born?
I was born in Matamoros, Tamaulipas.
What kind of student were you in school?
I was a very good student, A+.
Did you like school?
Of course I liked it. A whole bunch, a lot.
Did you like to read?
Of course. I really love to go to the library and everything. I spent my time over. Mm-hmm.
What were some of your favorite books?
Well, it was different subjects. Mystery and everything. Yeah.
Did you have a lot of boyfriends and or girlfriends growing up?
Well, I had boyfriends, yeah, and now I have girlfriends.
Did you have a best friend growing up?
Yeah, I used to have one, and I'm not in contact with them. It was a long time ago, and not since everything happened, they just went off. Mm-hmm.
Are you still in touch with any of your childhood or adolescent friends?
No. It's been a long time, so they say hi, and I say hi, and that's it.
What got you interested in witchcraft?
Okay, that thing I've been treated in a lot of occasions and different ways in different media. And it was because of several experiences I had in my childhood. And now they're in the book that I wrote. And the one that you were telling, the one that I have.
What's everyday life like in a Mexican prison?
Okay, the day is different for everyone and each one. It depends on how you take it. You know, something liberty.
How's the food in the institution where you are?
Oh, the meals over here are good. They're different. They get 3 meals a day, and they're good. And there's a lot of people taking it and everything, but not all of us eat it. Mm-hmm.
Are visitors allowed to bring in items from the free world to make you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, they do. They bring food, they bring clothing, shoes, etc.
Do you have to wear a uniform, or are you allowed to wear street clothes?
I use street clothes over here, like normal clothing, and the color is for sure, it's navy blue. It's navy blue, and it's for each and every one of us. And I do used to have a uniform when I was transferred to a federal prison, and I was number 118 in Tepic and 147 in Morelos.
Due to the high-profile nature of your case, are you treated different?
Well, yeah, I think I have more respect for that. People don't mess with me because I don't mess with no one. It depends on how you take it over here. It doesn't mean if you're important or not.
Have you had any negative experiences due to the nature of your case?
Well, sometimes I already had it at the beginning, but I've been trying to be, cutting in okay.
I saw the photo of Adolfo's jacket. Are you guys using that for the documentary?
They're gonna show it. They're gonna show it, and they're gonna say that it was his.
Is there any video or photos of him wearing that jacket?
No, I don't think so. He was so, he was so, I don't know, he didn't like photos and things and videos and, photos that are around are the ones that I took. They were on my album, on my personal photos. And the police took it and they gave it away to the, press and everything. But those pictures I took.
Yeah, I noticed that there's not many photos of him, but there's a lot of photos of you.
Yeah. My friend, thank you very much. I say hi to everybody, and I'm telling them to please buy the book. You're selling it, and I know they're going to have a good experience reading it, okay?
That was my conversation with Sara Aldrete. As I said before, I tried as much as I could. She never did call back to finish the interview, and she has since declined to do anything until the documentary is finished. So I got what I could. Thank you for listening.